be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, Lord.
While some people were speaking about how the temple was adorned with costly stones and votive offerings, Jesus said, "All that you see here, the days will come when there will not be left a stone upon another stone that will not be thrown down." Then they asked him, "Teacher, when will this happen? And what sign will there be when all these things are about to happen?" He answered, "See that you not be deceived, for many will come in my name, saying, 'I am he,' and the time has come. Do not follow them. When you hear of wars and insurrections, do not be terrified, for such things must happen first, but it will not immediately be the end." Then he said to them, "Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be powerful earthquakes, famines, and plagues from place to place, and awesome sights and mighty signs will come from the sky. Before all this happens, however, they will seize and persecute you. They will hand you over to the synagogues and to prisons, and they will have you led before kings and governors because of my name. It will lead to your giving testimony. Remember, you are not to prepare your defense beforehand, for I myself shall give you a wisdom in speaking that all your adversaries will be powerless to resist or refute. You will even be handed over by parents, brothers, relatives, and friends, and they will put some of you to death. You will be hated by all because of my name, but not a hair on your head will be destroyed. By your perseverance, you will secure your lives." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
What would it take to restore your faith in humanity? Maybe it's seeing someone pay it forward to a person they've never met. Or seeing signs of generosity in places you thought were only interested in making money. Maybe it's seeing someone else who understands that it's not always about winning. Sometimes it's just about helping someone else cross the finish line. Maybe it's something as simple as a smile, or a gift for someone in need, or an apology, and the relief that comes from it. Maybe it's seeing someone reach out across divisions, across cultures to find new friends. Maybe it's finding other people that realize just how silly the world can be sometimes. Sometimes it helps to remember that there are good people out there. People whose instinct it is to protect the weak and the helpless, to be brave. People who don't hesitate to help a stranger even if it's an inconvenience, or dangerous, or requires a bit of undressing in the process. It helps to remember that this instinct spans generations, that young people can act kindly without being told to, and that old people will sometimes give their lives in order to spare the young. Sometimes it just helps to remember that there is good in this world. Real, honest good.
You know, it's hard to remember that sometimes, that there's good in this world. You read the papers, you watch the news, you know, what the heck is going on? And we scratch our heads and we become perhaps a little bit downcast, distressed, depressed almost. We lose hope. Never mind the news and the telecast. Well, just listening to today's gospel, you become depressed. There'd be wars, insurrections, nations against nations, earthquakes, famine, plagues, and probably typhoons, right? Wow, what a great place. So what does one do? You know how to overcome that? But it's simply by living beyond yourself. Living for causes others bigger than yourself. To have a purpose, to have meaning. To maybe want to lower that, I have an echo. To live a little generously. To live generously. That's right. When you give, when you bless others, you in turn are blessed. So in this unstable world, you find stability, you find tranquility, and you find your joy. When we live beyond ourselves. When I give, I receive. And we speak about that last week. We started this series called Stretch. And we took it in a very, very natural way. Remember, we tried to touch our toes. I couldn't go too far. But I want you to know, I've been working on it this past week. And I have made great progress. Want to show there? Let me show you what I did. There you go. Huh? I am doing much, much better now. I am really stretching. This is in 1 week's time. All right. Next slide, though. Yeah, don't laugh too hard there. Okay. And there's a Holy Father. That's a stretch. Now, who would think the head of 1.2 billion Catholics, the Vicar of Christ, will walk around with a clown nose? Huh? Really? That's a stretch. To touch, to bring joy to others, even in your high state of life. Next. Now, this may not seem like much. This found this in the New York papers, Daily News and the Post. That's the New York City subway. And for some reason, people took to this. There's a story in the paper, and then went on over the internet. What it is, you see that young man who's tired, exhausted, and he's taking a nap on the other fella's shoulder. You say, well, okay. I guess in today, where there's always maybe sometimes misunderstanding, a little tenseness between the races. But this one even more so, especially. For here you have this young man wearing a hoodie, and that fella there you probably can't make out, but he's wearing a yarmulke. What a contrast, the hoodie and the yarmulke. In fact, as he was sleeping there, the story went on to say that some came over and said, "Sir, do you want us to wake him up?" He said, "Oh, no, there's no need. Let him sleep. We all been there." And so that little scene has touched many people. A stretch. Giving your shoulder so someone can sleep, someone can rest. And another slide. Next one there. There again are the Holy Father. I don't know if you can make it out, but that poor fellow has this deformity, this terrible skin disease. Not only did the Holy Father notice, recognize, or even give him a blessing somewhere like from a distance, right? He not only touches him, blesses him, but he embraces and he kisses his skin. Okay? That's a stretch. Stretching out of my comfort zone. Giving and blessing others. And that's what it means to stretch. To begin to stretch yourself to think of others. But there's more to stretch than kind deeds, an act of kindness and thoughtfulness, as important as that is. But there's one area we got to stretch, and this one we may be even more inflexible. Every year, September, I go for my yearly checkup at my doctor's office. We all been there. We know the routine, right? You walk in, you sign in, and they give you that chart and all the little medical history, any changes, medication, how you feel, and you sort of, check it, right? And the next thing, the nurse calls you in. The first thing she does is she puts you on that scale. I'm ready for it because I usually leave my keys and my comb in my car, so I won't weigh as much, Anyway, I get on that scale, and they get those things, they slide across. I won't look at it. I go, oh, no, I don't want to know. She slides and she jots it down. I don't even ask what she's writing. Better not tell me. Anyway, then the doctor comes in. He goes to the papers. Okay. He asks, how you feeling? Everything's fine. And then he gives you the checkup, right? And take your shirt off, you breathe, cough, stick your tongue out, your reflexes and all that sort of thing. And everything's going fine. Everything's going well. And he says, okay, get dressed, button up your shirt. I'm thinking, good. Whew, made it. And then as I'm ready to leave, he says, oh, by the way, you really ought to lose weight. Oh, man. I thought I'd get out with him saying that, You really need to lose weight. And then you almost feel his awkwardness. He's sort of apologetic in telling me this. He said, I understand, as you get old, your metabolism changes. Look at me, I know what, yeah. And he says, I'm sorry, I had to tell you this. It's my job. Yeah, I know. And because not that I didn't know, but because he told me, I'm sort of confronted, and then I really have to deal with it. Because he had to open his mouth. I wish he didn't tell me. And maybe you sit here this morning as we talk about generosity, we talk about time and talent. Maybe you have the same feeling. Oh, God, hope he's not going to talk about treasure, is he? And I am this morning. Perhaps usually that's the one we're most inflexible with. That's when we hold on most tight, okay? If you really want to measure your spirituality, is how generous am I with my treasure? Then truly God is in control of your life. That's how it works. Lately we talk about this thing, tithe. You say, what the heck's the tithe? Isn't that a Protestant thing? Since when do Catholics tithe? Well, what is a tithe? A tithe came from the Old Testament, came from the Old Testament, and really what it was 1/10. And so the Jews would give 1/10 of their gross income for the priest of the temple. Okay? 1/10. But hold on. It was more than that now. They gave 1/10 to the priest of the temple. Then they had to give another 1/10 of their gross income for the feast and festivals. Then they usually give between 3 and 5% of their gross income for the poor. And then, like the church, there's always these special collections, special needs that will pop up. So a practicing faithful Jew will give between 25 and 30% of their income. And these are not rich people. Relax. We're not asking for that. I'm not asking for that at all. In fact, in the New Testament, they don't speak about tithing. That's right. Christians, you don't have to tithe. Tithe is sort of a benchmark. But we don't have to tithe? Wow, that's good news. But what they were generous, see? They didn't have to go by some law or regulation or rule. See, it's not about dollars. It's about the devotion of the heart to become generous. And that's what it is. Am I generous? Do I feel it? So there's really 3 things of when we become generous with our treasure. 1, it's cheerful. I recognize that God is first in my life. I love the Lord. He has given me all good things, so I give back to Him. I'm cheerful. 2, it's constant, which means we don't simply do it this week or next week because Father Tom spoke about it, okay, and then we forget about it. No, it is a lifestyle. And thirdly, it is sacrificial. That's what it has to be. It has to be sacrificial. Remember we touch the toes and how far do you stretch when you feel it. Ooh. And that's what it has to be. Has to be some sort of feeling. It has to be a little ooh, a little wince. You gotta notice it. For some people, tithing, let's say the 10%, it wouldn't bother them. They would not feel it. Sure, here, 10%, they wouldn't even notice it. That's not the spirit of it. Others who, single parents raising children, they can't give a 10%. And so it's different. It's what you and God decide. Now, let me say this also. For those who cannot, give more, is that you have to check we also have to check our lifestyle. Oh, I got the latest iPad, I got the iPhone, I got the cable, right? I go out to eat, I go to Starbucks. Wait a minute now. You have to give, you have to sacrifice. Doesn't mean God gets what's left, God gets what's right. So you have to examine yourself. I used to love to get Sports Illustrated. That was my favorite magazine. You know that? At least at the end of the week, I knew something good was coming in the mail. Not junk, not a bill, nothing. I used to look forward to my Friday night to read it. It was like the highlight. And then I sat at that end of the magazines and said, listen, you want to give, you have to cut back. You have to sacrifice. And at first it hurt, but now I don't even notice it right now. So you have to examine yourself. Because I really don't think just throwing a buck in the basket really counts as sacrificial. Well, you give more probably in that tip cup at the ice cream parlor than you do for God. No. Cheerful, constant, and sacrificial. You be generous. And what you give is between you and God. And God lets you know. You know. You feel it. You know what it is. In fact, we'll let you a little DVD for some of our own parishioners sharing their own call, their own challenge of being generous with their finances.
There is a God who has blessed me, and therefore I have a need to give back to the church.
I am just a firm believer of you get out of something what you put into something.
My time, my talent, my treasure were all gifts from Him. And at the same time, as steward of these gifts, they were meant to be shared with everyone else. They're not meant to be hoarded.
When you start out with even making a donation to the church, I've looked at the different percentages that were, that are on the slip that we're filling out and wonder, what could I do? What should I do? And just kind of stretch a little bit, and it's always worked out for me.
Because of reading the Bible, understanding the need to tithe, I've had some blessings that is unbelievable.
In giving is where you receive. Christ gave His life on the cross for us.
If everybody and every member could take their little portion and do their small piece, the amazing things that will come from that.
But I find the more that I give of myself in finances, the more I receive.
You look at it going, oh my gosh, will I be able to do this? And then it works out. And then the next year it rolls around again and you're like, oh, I think I'll increase that a little bit this time.
If you give 5 or 10% faithfully, initially it would be difficult, but it's amazing. Over a period of time, God will bless you because you know you're giving for His kingdom and to make sure His ministry succeeds on earth.
If you're not sure about it, it'll work out for you. I can tell you, you will feel good about it.
For so many years, I thought I got a pass. I thought I was excused. I thought that didn't apply to me. I thought because I had the collar on, I did not have to tithe. I did not have to give. It was for you people, not me. And then all of a sudden the guy said, wait a minute. He says, no. You also. I said, what? My own little argument in my mind? I said, you're not even paying me much as it is now. I think I'm underpaid. Oh, no. I said, really? I said, since I became pastor, I said, Lord, I feel like I'm the pastor, but I still have the job of this associate pastor. I said, I'm doing enough, I told him. I don't think He said, no. It's also for you. I said, okay, what's the bottom line? How much do you want? Okay, tell me. You want the 10%? Here, you got it. And then he says to me, well, you're not married. And you don't have any children. Therefore, you don't have the same challenge as others, do you? I said, no. Therefore, you have to be a little more generous. So you got to be kidding. He wasn't. I thought I had a pass. But God said, no, it's the heart. You're a disciple, you're a follower, no matter how you may follow me. And so the Lord has convicted me in that as well. Though, whenever I give, someone always blesses me in return. It always does. How much I feel uneasy, God comes through. Let me show you this. I got this just the other night. Do you have the picture of that couple there? Just the other night. We feed those who are hungry. You probably can't see that well there, but anyway, it didn't come out that clear. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, we feed those who are hungry here on Saturday and Sunday. It's a mixture of group. Poor, some are just food challenged, and there's quite a few who are homeless. Anyway, the couple did it again yesterday. They did it a couple weeks ago, and they said, here, they handed me this. They said, we want you to have our tithe. And I looked at them, and I was thinking, you shouldn't be giving to me. You really don't even have anything. We're helping you. But I could tell by their eyes that, no, they meant this, and they too wanted to stretch. And if I didn't accept it, they would be hurt. That they had the need that we want to give our tithe to your church. They're not Catholic. They said this is what they wanted to do. And so I took it. And then again, it was just last night, once again, they said, here's our tithe. We want to thank you so much. They said, we have just one request, they said. We want you to ask your church to pray that they can have a shelter for us homeless. I said, okay, we'll pray for that. But this is what they gave me. They have probably nothing. But they felt this need to give back to God. And so I ask you as well. Cheerful, constant, and sacrificial. It's between you and God.